Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Buying your first home can be overwhelming, but here are 5 tips to make the process go smoother. Number one, find a lender, me, Ed Locke, that can answer any questions you might have and help you get pre approved. There are multiple options available based on your situation. Number two, work with a real estate agent you can trust. Number three, don't rush the process. Take your time and know that the process could take some time. Number four, consider all the costs. Number five, get a home inspection and review it with your realtor. Keep these tips in mind, budget for yourself, and you'll be that much closer to making your dream of homeownership a reality. So reach out to me at 502-680-0953. NMLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, NMLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity.
A North Korean defector? And can you count to quadrillion? We're covering that in 60 seconds.
You have scoured the podcast world. You have finally found the place where news is weighed in the balance. Welcome to Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry. 2 words and 2 question marks.
Jerry,
Hello, Mr. Steve.
what's up, my man?
Not a whole lot yourself.
Actually, a whole lot. I'm excited to be here today. It's a wonderful time.
Absolutely. It's always a wonderful time.
Absolutely. Hey, we just said the same thing to each other.
We did.
It was kind of like, I guess you've probably never watched Pete Holmes, have you? A comedian, has a lot of shows on Comedy Central. One of his skits was called The X-Men, and it was about, he played the part of Professor Xavier, and he was firing various X-Men because of whatever reason. If you've never watched Pete Holmes and the X-Men, by all means, run to your nearest YouTube channel, download those videos, watch them. They're hilarious, all of them. But he has one with Wolverine, and he's firing Wolverine, and that's what Wolverine says. Are you just repeating what's coming out of my mouth?
Gotcha.
It's hilarious. Sorry. I always laugh when I do that. How was your week?
It was good. It was a very good week.
Good. Mine too. I went to just cut in a little bit here. I went and we ran down to Mammoth Cave area for the weekend. It was a fun and amazing trip. Had a lot of good food, good experiences. Now, Mammoth Cave was booked. Apparently, you need to book that like a week or 2 weeks in advance.
Really?
Yeah, it's that popular. But we got to check out a lot of the smaller caves, which was fun. And sorry, you can get that chair over there.
I'm fine.
Okay. But we got to check out a lot of the other caves, and that was fun. What else we do? Oh, we did an escape room. That was a hoot. An absolute
Did you
hoot.
beat it?
Yeah, 1 minute and 5 seconds remaining. It's a good way to get your heart pumping. It was a scary, haunted type room, and had a blast. And you know me, I'm a big guy, so anytime I get real good food, I have to brag about it. So I'm going to show some free advertisement for C&J's Cafe in Horse Cave, Kentucky. Little bitty place about the size of our studio here. We had breakfast there. Was delicious, just like going to grandma's.
Nice.
The gravy was good. The eggs were perfect. The sausage was perfect. Just perfect. Good quality. And it was made with love. You know how that is.
Mm-hmm.
Also want to brag on Colton's Steakhouse down in Glasgow, Kentucky. If you're ever near Glasgow, it's 15 minutes off of Highway 64. No, not 65. well worth the trip over to get a good steak dinner. Everything we had was good, top to bottom. The appetizers were, sometimes you get appetizers, you're like, really, I paid $10 for this? I paid $10 for some really good appetizers. Probably could have made a meal on those. And I like my steaks well done, which is the
I do.
only way to have a steak. It is the only variety of steak that tells you for sure that it is done. They don't have a medium done. They just have well done. So,
But they have other things that are far superior to that, called medium rare.
but medium rare doesn't cut. It doesn't say medium rare done. So it's not done
Because it's well past done. It's excellent.
No.
It has taste. It has fluid left in it. Okay.
So anywho, we can sit here and debate this all day long, or all day long, and you're going to be wrong. So, but anyway, I am very accustomed to having steak and having to put A1 on it or some steak sauce.
You know what it is?
Because
You intentionally ask them to cook every friggin' bit of the moisture out of your steak. You have to replace the moisture with something.
I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, this steak required no A1. It was delicious. It was perfect. Got a big strip, New York strip. Great time. I always like to recognize.
When were you down there? Saturday?
Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, we went down Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday, I was eating a very good meal.
Did you have your crab boil?
Had the crab bowl.
Would you like to? Can I tell everybody why?
Sure.
So Jerry had crab boil because last week was Jerry's birthday.
Yes, it was.
Woo! He turned the same age as old people. Woohoo!
So 10 years from now, I'll remind you of that.
No, you don't have to do all that. That's not cool. You don't need to do that.
But no, one of these days, maybe I can get you to try crab bowl. It
It has corn. I'd eat the corn.
corn, potatoes. Yeah, it's excellent meal. You'd eat actually the smoked sausage as well, just not the shrimp, not the crab.
Yeah, no, I'm not a seafood guy. Can't do it. Tried it. Can't do
Probably
it.
the best thing of the best meal that I've ever had is crab bowl.
Really?
I can't do it quite as well. I made this. I can't do it quite as good as Storming Crab in Lexington on Nicholas
Yeah.
Hill Road. They are the best at it that I've ever had.
Well, that's
First
a
time
shame.
I ever had this was at oh crap, what is it in that place? I forgot. Look up to it. I guess you're right. I've gotten old. But
yes. Can you say
Joe's
that one
Crab
more
Shack.
time? Let me make sure it's recording. Okay.
I retract that. Joe's Crab Shack. First time I ever had the crab bowl was at Joe's Crab Shack, and I can make it quite a bit better than they make it. I
Oh,
think.
good.
But Storming Crab now, they're awesome.
Good.
They know how to do that stuff.
Well, that's awesome. So I had a blast. Was we unplugged? I turned my phone off, except checked it every once in a while, very vaguely to check on my boy, but was not a focal point of the weekend. So that was really, really good.
It's important to get some time away.
Yeah.
Had a smile on my face thinking about another time when you went away and you asked me to check on your boy, and I called
Different
him,
boy, but yeah.
and I called him right before you and your wife got back, or I thought I called him. Called some stranger who got an absolute kick out of the warning I gave your son.
Which was this is what best friends do for their friends' children. Okay, listen to this.
Yeah.
So I had entrusted Jerry to the welfare of my child. This is what he does.
16, 17 years
Yeah,
old. something
16,
like that.
17-year-old.
And I had actually stopped by 2 or 3 times. I knew what he was doing. I'd been over to see him, make sure he had food and didn't have parties, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, a couple of hours before you guys are supposed to get back, I call him, or what I thought was him. And he answered, and I said, dude, I don't know if you got any women there in the house, but if you do, you got to get them the hell out. Get them dressed, get some clothes on them, get them the hell out of the house before mom and dad gets home. And this guy just cracked up laughing. Hey, it wasn't your son. I'd call some stranger.
What did he say to you? Tell him.
He was after he was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" I said, "Well, a friend of mine and his wife went out of town and asked me to check on his son. I'm just making sure his son's okay, and but just in case he was doing some wild, crazy stuff, just in case he had a bunch of wild women over at the house, I'm like, I called to say, get him out." He's like, "Dude, I don't have any women over here at my house, but from the sounds of it, I need to come to your house." Yeah.
Wonderful. The one thing I couldn't do this weekend though, Jerry, was go to the library.
You couldn't.
No, they were completely booked.
No. Really?
Yeah.
How dare they?
I know, right?
How dare they?
Unbelievable.
Well, I've got to pull mine up.
See,
It would take just a minute, and now my computer decided to do nothing.
well, that's all right.
What did you start saying? See what?
I was just kind of a weird news cycle this week.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
In
dude.
what way?
Just there was a lot happening, but it was almost like there was so much happening that all of it got lost in its own shuffle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of.
You know what I mean? There was so much going on that a lot of it just got wrapped up, and maybe it was planned that way. Maybe I don't know, but we're going to dig into some of that in a little while.
Finally found mine.
Oh, let's see what it is.
If you're ever arguing with your wife and you're winning, and she takes her top off, you need to watch out. It's a booby trap.
Booby trap.
It's a booby trap.
Wow, Jerry, really?
So give us an example of the weird news. What's top on your list?
Well, the top thing on my list, I don't want to cover yet because
Okay.
it's kind of
Gonna
neat.
save that one.
Yeah, but I will go on in and start talking. I got a few space stories today because I kind of like that stuff. But there are people out there that are saying and swearing that they are seeing Nibiru. Oh gosh, I can't even say the word. Nibiru, which is supposedly, if you've ever followed Coast to Coast AM or any conspiracy type stories at all, there's always been the talk of this planet that's out in our solar system that we've not seen yet. The secret planet or the dark planet called Nibiru. But in the last week, there's been a lot of sightings because of the way the stars are aligned or whatever.
Sightings by reputable people.
By people with cameras.
Okay.
Just the fact that those sightings are all ramped up. And you take that and you add to it the fact that several members of Congress are coming out and writing laws for full disclosure on the alien stuff. Democrat and Republican, both sides. And it's like, why is this all getting ramped up right now? I'm a big believer if the government is showing you a shiny thing in this hand, you should definitely be looking at what the other hand is doing. You know what I'm saying?
Especially when it comes to UFO and things like that.
Absolutely.
They obviously do not want us knowing very much about. They've had a policy of covering up the majority of the information they
Since
have
the
for many
beginning.
years.
Since the beginning of time.
I agree.
It's one of those things that just I don't get, and I don't really understand it. But the planet is a hypothetical rogue planet, supposedly heavily prophesized in the ancient Sumerian tablets. The Sumerians had a lot of stuff going on in their tablets, and whether or not we're actually even, what's the word I'm looking for?
I'm not for sure.
When you, gosh, why am I so stupid tonight? When you take a language and you translate, that's the word I was looking for. Some of those things you have to question even if we've translated their writing correctly. But when you do, they got some weird stuff. They have the Anunnaki, they have Nibiru. These is all space related stuff. But anyway, it's a rogue planet. It has been in ancient Sumerians thought that it rotated or circled around the Earth every 3,600 years. And how they knew this, who knows? No idea. But it doesn't really exist. And if something did come around every 3,600 years, how would they know? That
Yep.
means that they would have had to have been a writing society for 3,600 years. And they just weren't.
Or it would mean that they had access to technology that we have today, where it could take pictures, over a month time period and extrapolate the data into, well, this is the arc that it's on, this is the speed that it currently has. So, yeah, they couldn't do those things back then. They didn't have access to the technology. But you're going to tell us how they might have had some help, I would assume.
No, I don't even want to go there. That's such an ancient race that all you can do is speculate.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Pretty
saying?
I do.
They had the first writing tablets, with not the first, but they had many, many, many they had one of the gosh, my brain is shutting down tonight. They had one of the first writing forms. And how do we know that we're remotely translating that anywhere correct? I don't know. I'm sure some senior writing translation person has figured that all out, but
you
not
can't.
me.
You can't figure it all out. Now, if it's a totally dead language, you got to keep in mind that in many cases, most languages are going to have words that other languages do not. The Greeks had 5 letters, 5 words for our one word love. So, yeah, it becomes impossible to translate perfectly when you have words that don't exist in other languages. Again, if it's a dead language and you've got no one to say, okay, now what does this mean? Makes it a whole lot tougher.
Yep.
I think I'm beginning to understand what you meant by the crazy news cycle.
Yeah. Just
After that story and my first one.
okay.
Ready?
What was your first one?
My first one is the Helsinki deputy mayor, Helsinki, Finland. The deputy mayor was caught spray painting graffiti in a railway tunnel. His name is Pavel. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to attempt his last name. Arhinmaki. One of 4 deputy mayors of Helsinki. He is facing possible legal action and calls for him to pay compensation for damages, and some are even calling for his resignation. The Finnish capital spends an estimated 650,000 euros, 710,000 American dollars annually to remove illegal graffiti throughout the city. And here the deputy mayor was caught spraying graffiti. Crazy news cycle.
Yeah, that is crazy. No doubt. Now I had been watching these. One of the funny things that I've been watching out of the big cities. Have you seen any of these? And maybe you have. When they hire someone to get rid of the graffiti, and then the graffiti artist will redo the scene, but have half of it blank and actually graffiti the worker getting rid of the graffiti as graffiti. Right down to the type of tennis shoes they're wearing. Yeah. It's like they're sitting over across the street watching him paint over it. And he just comes in and paints him. Yep. It's pretty good stuff. Hey, Solo, glad you're here. That's one of my favorite things. I just love, first of all, I was sitting at a train. I was caught at a train the other day, and hundreds, we live close to Georgetown, so there's a lot of cars, that carry automobiles that come and go. but the trains were all graffitied all the way up to arm's length. And
The
some of
cars.
those, yeah, and some of those were done. Back when I was younger, I thought, man, that's trashy looking, whatever. Some of those guys have real talent. I
Oh,
mean, it's
absolutely.
amazing the thing they can do with a spray
Absolutely.
can. It just blows me away. Blows me away.
Several of those have gotten hired to do their artwork on buildings and things like that.
Yeah. Interesting.
What other crazy news cycle stuff do you have for us?
The fact that most of the beaches on the East Coast and in the Gulf of Mexico are having to close due to E. coli. that's
How often does that happen? When's the last time you remember hearing that on the news?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Every once in a while, you would hear about red algae down around Florida on the Gulf Coast of Florida, and that would become a problem.
Yep.
E. coli is a little more big, and it's affecting a lot more areas. Texas, Florida, Alabama, North Carolina. These beaches, imagine you playing, here in Kentucky, going to the beach is a vacation. So you spend all year waiting to go to the beach on your vacation. You get there and there's a no swimming sign. Because they're not going to tell you that until you get there.
What's causing it to occur everywhere?
They truly don't know. If you listen to some of the you have to break it down. Some scientists, it's climate change. That's the reason.
But how? I mean, you've got to do more than say climate change.
I don't have an answer for you, Jerry. The answers are from human waste being dumped into the oceans. Really,
I could buy that at a beach or two.
Or two. Not at all of them.
Not all of them.
Yeah. And then, even in you were talking about overseas in was it Spain yesterday, the day before? Helsinki. Was that Spain?
No. Helsinki's Finland. The one I just did.
No, not Helsinki. That's what you just did. The one where they had to, it was in Spain, and I don't remember. I apologize for not knowing the name, but they had to close down the whole beach there because at some point somebody's pipe, some municipality's pipe had bust, and there was too much fecal matter in the whole bay, so they had to close down that beach. Just weird.
That type of stuff happens, though.
It does, but it's just weird, and it's all happening like right now. It's just a weird news cycle.
Yeah, saddest it is the human waste being in the water happens not that infrequently. E. coli at a bunch of different beaches, all at the same time. I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Yeah, crazy. Today's show's just crazy. Just a bunch of crazy, to be honest.
Talking about crazy. I'm sure you heard about Travis King, the 23-year-old private second-class Army soldier that crossed the demilitarized zone into North Korea. A little bit of background. This guy is in South Korea. He, I think in September of last year, was at a bar, got drunk, got into a fight, beat the crap out of some South Korean. And by the time it worked its way through the judicial system, he spent 47 days in a local jail. He was released. The Army decided they'd had a couple of other problems with him, and they decided to ship him back, and they were going to discharge him. He wasn't under arrest. He's not, in trouble other than he's going to be kicked out of the Army. Dishonorable discharge, as I understood. I'm not positive, but I think that's the case. And they loaded him up, took him to the airport, give him his plane ticket, and said, you're going back to the U.S. He left the airport, inserted himself into a tourist group that then went to the demilitarized zone. While he's there, he just turns and books it into North Korea.
Wow. So he defected into North Korea. So
now our government is starting to try to figure out how to negotiate for his return. I have a suggestion for that. I would like to suggest that we tell North Korea to keep the boy.
No kidding.
Sounds like we've had enough problems out of him. I don't think he's, and I'm joking. I'm not being serious, but holy crap. I started to say he's not worth negotiating to get him back. You know, he's a human life. I get all that. What a piece of garbage. You know, you're being sent back from a foreign country because you've disgraced American interest, the American military. And then you go to pull this stuff.
I
Leave
don't
the
get it.
airport and decide to defect and just run across. They said he began laughing hysterically. So he was maybe on drugs. Who knows? But some of the people in the group said that he was laughing, suddenly began laughing hysterically and turned and ran into North Korea.
So North Korea troops didn't shoot him on the spot.
From what I read, in an effort to totally cut off their country at the beginning of COVID, the North Korean visible troops disappeared. They were no longer seen. You did not see any North Korean troops. They knew there were some there, but you could not see them. They did not want them to be, they tried to totally cut off that country and prevent COVID from coming in any way. Part of that was on the demilitarized zone. They didn't have any visible soldiers that you could see. And it's
Interesting.
still that same way today.
Interesting.
So, no, he was not shot down. He was not shot. And they assume that he's safe and in custody in North Korea.
Well,
And I don't really have a problem if he stays there.
I have a perfect song for him.
What's that?
Na 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 na
Oh, yeah.
na 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 na.
There
Hey,
you go.
goodbye. Oh man! Guess what's coming up?
What's
Guess what this
coming
is,
up?
Jerry? Guess what this is? Actually, yeah, this month starts the unofficial start of the NFL.
Yep.
Woo! OTAs and minicamp start this month.
Never seems real.
That,
You know, football seems like a cold weather sport, and for it to start in the middle of the summer.
yeah, it's crazy. And so, is this the year? I'm just going to throw this out. I don't have it on my notes or anything, but there's a lot of hype from a lot of big name running backs. Is this the year that running backs stop being paid?
Stop being paid.
Yeah, the last big contract to any running back was it Nick Chubb up in Cleveland?
Even so, running backs don't get paid near what they should, in my opinion.
Well, that's what some of the running backs are saying.
Well, they have a very, very limited career.
Yeah,
They're just subjected to so many nasty hits
abuse.
that on a consistent basis, far more so than wide receivers. Wide receivers are less protected when they go up for a pass or whatever, but that happens pretty infrequently. Running backs, if you're a good running back, if you're the bell cow running back, a 3-down back, you're getting the ball a lot. You're
Yeah.
getting hit a lot.
AKA Derrick Henry. I mean, yeah.
There's
Derrick
a lot
Henry is
of
the first one that comes to mind. Saquon Barkley, who's not going to be signing. They don't think he's going to report to any early training
I haven't
camp.
heard that.
Yeah,
Is he wanting out or what?
he just wants to get paid. But if I'm New York, why am I going to pay a guy for part-time work?
You know, Le'Veon Bell, back when he was with Pittsburgh and he tried that mess. It doesn't work with running backs. There's too many they can bring in. And, who did they bring in to replace him?
James Conner.
James Conner. He didn't have quite Le'Veon Bell numbers, but pretty close.
Yeah. Well, he was
So-
a different type of back, too. James Conner was a ground and pound. Le'Veon was more of a reception, elusive type back. But
They're just too easy to replace. And that's
Mhm.
why another reason why they won't pay them big money.
he actually, this last week, it's funny you brought him up. This last week, he just admitted how big of a mistake that was for his career overall.
Huge.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Kind of like some of them diva wide receivers that think they're more than the team. I just don't understand.
And I don't know what it is with wide receivers. And you said some. It seems to be the majority of wide receivers. They're just one after another. I mean, none of them are probably as bad as Antonio Brown. Again, another Steeler.
Chad Johnson, another
There's
terrible
been a
one.
bunch. Terrell Owens. Most of the good ones seem to be just absolute divas and think the world revolves around them.
Yeah.
But the good news is it's almost football time again.
Oh my gosh. And so I got a funny story tonight. Again, not in my notes, but I got to tell you because, in real estate, I see a lot. I see a lot of weird houses. Oh, actually showed a house to a couple that we went down in the basement once and here in Anderson, well, I better not say where, but here locally. And there was a refrigerator in the basement that was duct taped and it said, "Do not open." So you see a lot of weird stuff in real estate, and I'm sure it's nationwide, it's not just here local. But I had this house that I've been trying to sell for a little while and finally got it under contract over the weekend. Was so elated. Um, Several reasons for it being out lingering out there, price and just a few issues, but finally got it under contract. And so the new buyers asked to come by and do some measurements because they were going to change carpet and stuff. So they wanted to get measurements to see how much they were going to need. And the seller's cat rubbed up against her leg and scared the bejesus out of the buyer to the point they pulled out of the contract. I kid you not.
I mean, I don't know what their down payment is. $500. They're walking away from $500.
No, they don't
because
have. They have when you write an offer, you're given a certain length of time. Like in this particular contract was like 8 days. That you do home inspections and you can
for no reason you can back out.
Yeah,
no reason.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty. It's pretty.
But I mean that already. I don't even understand how that's legal. A legal contract is binding on both parties. Usually there will be some things in there. It's got to pass inspection.
Yeah.
It's got to pass the title check. It's got to do all these things. Obviously, if there's, but none of that was the case.
We haven't kind of got to that point, so I can't speak to that yet.
I mean, how the hell? What's wrong with this woman?
I have no idea.
A cat rubbed up against her, and that scared her so bad she can't live in the house.
I don't know that maybe she's got a phobia of cats because when you view a house, all the animals are put away.
Well, I'm glad she looked at it from it happened in this house, so I can't live in this house, instead of looking at it as it happened in the United States, so I can't live in the United States.
Really? I don't know. I kind of think that maybe Canada's a good choice.
Maybe.
It was insane.
Maybe North Korea. Maybe she can go join Travis Key. Live up there with Kim Jong-un.
I just had to say that. I had to get that out because that's...
I understand that people have phobias and all that, but to the point that because they have a cat and it touched you, now you can't live in the house?
Dude,
jeez.
I've seen a lot. I agree with you, Double. See, that was an excuse, but legally, I don't know where we are with that whole thing yet, or if we just don't even want to fool with it and just...
I'd keep their deposit money.
So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, man. Well, I've got one just about as stupid.
Okay.
A TikToker, David Barton, 45-year-old TikToker, faked his own death.
What?
Simply to find out who cared enough about him to show up at the funeral. David Barton, 45, his wife and his children decided to prank friends and family members to find out who really cared about him. The funeral, which was staged last weekend near the city of Liege, wherever the hell that is, was attended by many friends and families, and everyone was waiting for the ceremony to begin, but instead they were met by a landing helicopter, and David and a camera crew stepped off. Now, I'm sure he didn't do this to find out who cared about him. I'm sure he's doing this for TikTok. I'm sure he's doing this for views. Something I think you might be going to talk about later. But how selfish is that?
It's stupid.
Selfish, stupid, all of it rolled into one. Yes, absolutely.
I've got another one for you since we're talking about TikTok. How about this? So, as someone who knows, and you know that I love a good conspiracy, Bigfoot is one of those, falls into that realm, right?
Yep.
Well, last week there was a video that went huge because they claimed that it was drone footage, the best evidence yet of Bigfoot. got people all up in arms, both sides. You actually had the real people doing real research at Bigfoot saying this is fake, it's stupid, while the creator was just kept hyping it, kept hyping it. It got a few million views, so they did their job, if you will, and it does turn out that it was fake. The creator actually finally came out and said, "Yeah, it was fake. We did it as a prank." I really, I hate that they do things like this.
Oh, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Because if there is any, because there's real science, there's real scientists out there with real evidence leading to maybe a huge discovery. But when you have jackasses like this, pardon my French, but
Yep.
it demeans everything that those other people are spending their life work trying to either, and the real scientists are not necessarily trying to prove it exists, but also if it doesn't exist, period, let's just settle it, yes or no. That's what scientists do. They're not about the guessing game. But things like this really, really waters all that down. It also dries up money that the real scientists can use, or maybe garner from someone who is interested in the topic. It's really bad. I don't like it.
Totally agree. Speaking of which, we've mentioned TikTok a couple of times. I think it's time that we readdress something that happened a few months ago when you told everyone that you were going to let everyone know on the next episode the dangers of TikTok and how it truly is a national security threat. And I promised people then that meant that you would never again broach the subject.
I just broached it.
And a few weeks ago, I brought it up again, and you assured us yet again you were going to fill us in.
So I was going to read the whole disclosure and then connect all of the dots to all the people that are attached. The disclosure that you actually, because I was going to sign up on live while we were here on TikTok. And when the disclosure popped, I was going to read it verbatim. And I decided
2 hours.
That would suck. Nobody wants to hear all that. That's the reason we don't read them. But then I was going to go ahead and take TikTok and the parent company and how all that is. And I decided that bluntly, that show would suck butt. So
you don't need to do a show. Just do a little research and give us 2 or 3 minute rundown on the dangers of TikTok.
Fine. I'll do it.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Okay, fine. But I have heard in starting to do that and talk about that another thing that you and I both use is even more dangerous than TikTok.
What's that?
Because it does have we do allow access to our money and stuff, which is Temu. I've heard that's way more dangerous than TikTok.
Could be.
And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but that's what I heard.
And you and I both use it.
So speaking of TikTok, Facebook launched or changed a couple of things that they do that I just want to vent here. I hope Elon kicks Mark Zuckerberg's butt when they do their cage fight. Used to be on Facebook, you could watch videos, much like YouTube. Full-length videos, some of them were 12, some of them were 20 minutes, whatever. Now they've removed those and all you can watch is Reels. And I guess that's a Facebook owned version of TikTok. It's horrible. I don't like TikTok, so I certainly don't like the Reels either.
You don't know if you like TikTok. You've never had it.
You send me stuff, people send me stuff and I watch them and I get a chuckle, but nothing that I'm going to sit there and watch for days and days and days like some people I know.
Don't have a clue who would do that.
Just the person looking right at me. I wonder who that is. Hey, I saw this TikTok.
Because I saw a TikTok means I watched it for days.
Well, my theory is that if you see one TikTok that you like, you probably had to watch 30,000. So, because there's a lot of crap out there.
As there is everywhere. But I'll tell you what, there are a lot of funny people
Yeah.
on TikTok. Just average. There's a guy, his name on TikTok is Stale Cracker. He's a boy from Louisiana that tells you how to cook Louisiana food. And he is funny as junk.
Okay.
It's a guy that you would have never heard of in your life if it wasn't for Stale Cracker. There's a lot of funny people out there.
Wow. Impressive.
I'm going to have to get you some of his recipes.
No,
Stale Cracker.
I don't know that I really want those.
He has a tool belt, but instead of holding tools, his tool belt holds like 8 or 10 different beers. And one of his mottos is, while we wait, we hydrate. And he takes a beer and turns it up.
So I'm trying really hard not to delve into too much political stuff today because I'm just don't wanna.
Same.
But I do want to bring up real quick the fact that a little bit of pride from our great Commonwealth of Kentucky here.
Okay.
We had in South Korea, because North Korea is acting like a jackwad again. So we wanted to send a little message. So they sent over and let everybody see one of our Triton class nuclear submarines.
Yep.
The USS Kentucky popped up. And when they were allowing South Korean officials to come out on it, it had the big banner, and
Yep.
the banner was perfect. The thoroughbred of the fleet.
There you go.
Kudos to the U.S. Navy for acknowledging the Kentucky and her crew and the namesake. Just wanted to appreciate that very much. It was good stuff.
That is very good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one more, my last one. A giant 300,000-year-old hand axe found in England may have been used for prehistoric butchery. Archaeologists in Kent, England, have unearthed a collection of prehistoric hand axes that are among the largest and oldest known stone tools ever found in Britain. While the axe's exact purpose is unknown, it's likely that they would have been used as cutting tools for activities such as butchering animals or cutting meats. Look at that friggin' thing.
It looked like a big tooth.
I mean, it looks like an arrowhead, right? You can see where
Huge.
it's chipped and hewn,
Yeah.
but it's huge. I mean, a guy's using two hands to hold it, and it is like 3 times as long as his hand.
Right? So
I see why they called it an
So-
axe.
again, not on my notes. We're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants today. But that reminds me, there was a story last week, and I don't know, I can't link to it because I don't know where I saw it.
Okay.
But there are scientists now that are absolutely believing that when the first humans were on the earth, so were dinosaurs. That they have
Remember you
found
saying that.
some sort of fossilized evidence that dates us back to the time of the dinos. That just blows. So with and let me just run a few things by you real fast here. With the advent of the James Webb Telescope, we literally can see the beginnings of basically the James Webb Telescope has the ability, and they believe is showing us that the Big Bang didn't happen the way they think, because there are galaxies that it is seeing, and I don't know how they calculate this stuff. I'm not an astrophysicist, but they are seeing galaxies that were there before the Big Bang was supposed to have happened.
Well,
Now we're seeing that there are humans on the planet before humans were supposed to have happened.
that
And
that would cast a lot of the theory of the way humans evolved
yeah,
into great doubt.
yeah. And, not only that, one of the things that I read also, I just want to throw it out. I went to Dino World this weekend. If you're ever going up and down 65, take 2 hours, let the kids out, let them go play. It's 2 hours tops. It's a hoot. Absolute hoot, but it's also a wealth of information. But they think that not only did climate change and the asteroid come to end the woolly mammoth, but humans actually hunted them to extinction, which is kind of cool. Not cool that we hunted them to extinction, but our primitive humans were so adept at hunting that they could even hunt a species to extinction, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Just because from everything you've ever heard, they weren't capable of that.
Yep.
They weren't capable of speak. You can't bring down a woolly mammoth without being able to coordinate that as a measly little 4'9" human. But
Very
anywho,
true.
I just that was really something that blew me away, and the timelines of everything that they're figuring out is getting all jacked up, and it's
You're gonna have to see if you can find
what's that
that article you read about
about
the,
yeah, I'll do my best to try to find it.
I think I may have just found one.
It was
New
just
York Post. Dinosaurs coexisted with human ancestors.
yeah, that was
Human
it.
ancestors. So
Yeah.
they're not saying humans. Human
No.
ancestors.
Well, humans, as we are now, were even different than Neanderthals, and we know that we're genetically linked. So,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So,
New York Post on June 27th of this year was this article.
interesting. Yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, I agree with you there. To a degree, double. But there's information that's starting to be unearthed that not only are we on our sixth extinction, not including dinosaurs, but that there are great civilizations that were before our rise, and that there was something cataclysmic with the Earth and the polar shifts. We're getting into conspiracy theory stuff and deep, stuff there, but that there were great civilizations before our civilization that was completely wiped out due to polar shift or
Asteroids.
or whatever.
Which is what they think ended the dinosaur age.
yeah.
They think that a Earth-shattering asteroid hit the Earth
So
and
anywho,
destroyed all living life.
so speaking of, I got one more, Jerry. So would you be kind enough? We'll sit here and wait. Could you count to 10,000 quadrillion for
Sure.
me?
And you'll wait.
Huh? We'll wait. Yeah.
I would do it on one condition.
What's
I want you
that?
to hold your breath while I wait. While you wait.
Damn, dude, that's roof. That's roof. That's roof.
Very, very roof right there.
So why would I ask you to count to 10,000 quadrillion?
Yeah, I'm not for sure.
Well, I'll tell you. The NASA scientists are on the home stretch to blast off a probe and satellite to a asteroid that is, that is scheduled to lift off on October 5th. We're going straight for, we have a ship, and I was trying to find the name of it. They name all this stuff. The Psyche, the Psyche spacecraft. That's why I wanted to bring it up. It's kind of cute. So this spacecraft, and it's more a probe type satellite. It's going to be able to send. They're going to try to land on an asteroid, basically. And the reason that they're trying to do this, they're sending it to an asteroid called the 16 Psyche. It has a core of iron, nickel, and gold, and it is supposed to be worth 10,000 quadrillion dollars in in Earth money. I don't know how we're getting to Jupiter to mine it.
I don't even know where they come up with that number. I guess they just took the dollar amount. Gold is selling for so much an ounce.
Yeah.
They try to figure out how much this thing weighs.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard what the total worth of the Earth is?
That's what I was getting ready to say. The total, are you talking about the economy?
Everything.
Okay, so
Everything
the
in the world.
entire global economy is roughly $110 trillion. That's what the global economy, not the whole.
Yeah. There's
Earth.
another number, and I
Right.
don't remember what it is, but it's not 1 quadrillion of what they estimate that everything on the Earth is worth.
Wow.
And this thing is worth
10,000
times that.
quadrillion.
I don't know who they think the buyer is going to be.
Well, that would, even if they could mine it, if that happened, they would never bring it all back at the same
Because
time.
if they did, it would
crash
just,
all the markets.
yes.
We'd have no
Forever.
precious metal. Right.
Well, we'd have precious metals, but it wouldn't be gold.
Right, right. So it would be very much like the diamonds are now. We have so many more diamonds, but they hold them back so that diamonds hold their value. It would be the same type thing, I'm sure. But they've just completed all their comprehensive tests, and excuse me, they're getting ready to make it on its launch date. So it was originally going to launch in 2022, and it had some issues, some software issues that prevented it. So it's getting ready to go up now. And I don't know, all these things that they make, they look like they make them out of aluminum foil. I'm sure that that's an actual, something, but
I was wrong. The net worth of the entire world in 2000 was 440 trillion. In 2020, it's 1,540 trillion, or 1.5 quadrillion.
wow.
This thing is worth 10,000 quadrillion.
Yeah. Now, the cool thing is, this is a joint effort between NASA and SpaceX. Falcon Heavy is going to be the one that takes this thing up and launches it out of space. So that's pretty cool. But to get there, it's a solar electric type deal. That's how they get their propulsion system. So ain't no telling how long I don't know if it'll even be in our lifetimes by the time it actually gets there, but just a really, really cool story. I love when NASA does cool stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. I just love when NASA does cool stuff. It makes me happy. But can you imagine so say the thing gets there, right?
Right.
And they value because of everything, they do value it at 10,000 quadrillion. Can you imagine the race to get to it by all the big companies that can afford to race to get to it?
Yeah, I think. See, here's the problem, real quickly. It's one thing to be able to get there. It's another thing to be able to get there with a spacecraft that has the capability of bringing back an appreciable amount.
Sure.
That
Safely.
doesn't exist. We don't have the capability.
100% agree. But if
begin
we've
to start.
learned anything in human history, is that money will drive technology.
You've also got to remember that real quickly, how much can they bring back before it does crash the markets?
Right. I get it. I understand.
And I really think that it would cost more to try to go get this and bring it back than it would be worth.
You think it's going to be worth?
I think it will cost trillions to do it.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. But we're talking quadrillions of dollars.
No, there's no quadrillions.
There's not that much money here to pay them for it. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
If every person in the world who owned buildings, land, cows, cars, trains, automobiles, sold it all, there's not enough, according to what I read, 1.5 quadrillion for everybody. They sell everything. It's all the money they got to give this guy for all of his gold, not 10,000 quadrillion.
Yeah. Well, I get it, man. I just think that's so neat.
It is.
I think it will. I think it does have the potential to further to put, how do I put this? So mining and the Industrial Revolution jumped our species.
Right.
I think that is a goal that could potentially jump us into space more.
Oh, I agree, but
You know
not
what
for
I'm
the
saying?
gold. It will be for the metals that we need to do some of this stuff that technology requires.
Sure. But that is a way to pay for it. I mean, that is hey, it's out there. Why are we still here trying to mine 7 million feet deep when we can get it out there and it's laying on top of the whatever? I just think that that's an amazing, amazing, cool thing. And I think that between that and our AI, which is about to either smack us down or serve us well, I don't know yet. I'm still on the fence.
Do you think it's AI is the threat to
I do.
humanity?
I do. I absolutely. I've seen that movie. I've seen all those movies, and every one turns out badly. I'm just saying. At some point, and it may not be Google or Elon Musk or it's not
GPT or Open
but
AI
there's
or
going to
any of
be
those.
somebody out there that doesn't care about the rules.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the scary part.
And that's
The
scary
United
part.
States, I think, will make AI pretty safe and secure. That doesn't mean that it's the AI that's being developed in
India.
Kim Jong in North Korea by
Yeah.
Kim Jong Un's regime is going to be safe.
Or someone in Venezuela who's trying to bring their country back out of poverty, or whomever.
Those things are scary.
You ain't a kidding. So to answer your question, yes, AI scares the holy crap out of me. Even not say it doesn't become Terminator, right? It doesn't take over and have its moment of doing that. The effects on the economy and the individual person scares me, because at the estimate I saw, and I think we brought it up a couple of weeks ago,
The number of jobs it could
the number
replace.
of jobs it's going to replace in the next 5 years is unbelievable. Now, will those people be able to go into something else that maybe helps AI? Maybe, but not all of them.
Yeah.
So, anywho, man, today was you know what today's show should have been titled?
What?
The Great Show About Nothing.
Yep.
I mean, we covered a lot, but none of it really sticks out.
Scatterbrained as hell, weren't we?
Yeah, well, that's okay. Sometimes we do that. We're still trying to do 200 different things, but I think very soon we have another conspiracy episode coming. Woohoo!
Hopefully so.
Yeah. So, anywho, got anything else, Jerry?
I do not.
Oh.
I've covered my stuff.
Yeah, me too. So, I tell you what we need to do. We need to listen to Ed Locke.
Yes, we do.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry, how does people reach out to us?
They have a couple of ways. One, they can email us at newsworthywithstephenjerry@gmail.com. They can text us on our text line at area code 540-709-1318.
There's one more thing I want to bring up.
What's that?
I turned 48 a few weeks ago.
Yes, you did.
Every other email I have received or phone call I have received since then has been AARP. AARP, if you're listening, stop. Please stop. I've hit the no button, the reject button, the extra remove me from your subscription list button. Stop, go away. I'm not ready yet. I am not there. When I get to be Jerry's current age, then we'll start talking a little bit. But I am not there yet.
But you'll soon be there.
Shh, psh, as Jaden would tell me. Psh.
Yep. Kids love to say that.
Huh?
Kids love to say that.
Yeah, he does. He thinks I remember when I was his age, and he is kids today. I was talking about, and I know we're getting ready to leave, but we were talking about how much when my youngest grandson, he's 3 or 4. He's in that age group, and he literally on Roblox, which is a computer game, has built an entire city with working everything. He knows where every curve, every tunnel, every street name, every building is in this entire city. Okay.
Sounds like his dad.
And he is under 5, just like his dad. But he's under 5 years old. You know what I was doing at 5 years old? I was playing with a stick.
Yep.
and the stick was a gun or a spaceship or whatever. Kids today we complain about a lot of things about the youth, but the youth are so much smarter than we are
Yeah.
in so many
Quicker.
different ways.
But I'll give you an example of why it's not always good. Hayden, at about the same age, was into Roblox huge and started about 3, 4, 5, 6. When he was in first grade, I remember if I told you this
I
story,
remember, go ahead.
he figured out how to use the microphone and to talk to do Google searches. And he told me and his mother one time that he was not going to learn how to read. He didn't need to. He figured out how to use Google with his voice. He didn't know how to read jack. He made it read it to him.
Wow.
He didn't have to type. He didn't have to know how to spell the words. He could hit a button, use the microphone, tell it what he wanted to search for, which was inevitably Roblox. Something
yeah.
about how to get past some problem he'd encountered. So,
Crazy.
it can be very good, but he was finding ways to say he was never going to learn to read.
You know, I found myself doing that old person thing, and my big hang up is cursive writing. I just blows me away that we're not teaching children at any age, at any group, how to read or write in cursive.
Blows me away that we ever thought it necessary to teach that crap.
Well, we need to read our Constitution. It's
Well,
written
then
in
somebody
cursive.
print it in non-cursive writing, and we're done.
Oh, Jerry, you cracked me up.
Oh, man.
Oh well. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you for joining
Yes,
us.
we do.
Thank you. We have been a scatterbrain show today, and that's okay every once in a while. We got bigger, better, brighter things coming up, and we can't wait to get into all that. But we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. And if you can't see the light,
Be the light.